Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is our delicious low sugar ginger chin chin. So let's get down to business. So I used 3 cups of flour and I sieved my flour. I don't know, some people don't like sieving their flour, but I love sieving my flour because it gives this nice texture to your baked products, especially my chin chin. So I sieved out my 3 cups of flour. First of all, the basic rules of baking: mix all the dried ingredients together. So this is my baking powder. I used 1 teaspoonful of baking powder. I added my baking powder to my sieved flour, and this is my vanilla flavor. Actually, I bought because the one I had at home was finished, but the measurement is 2 teaspoons full of baking powder. Yeah, those are the measurements for this baking powder I used. So I mixed my baking powder, my vanilla flavor, two spoon tea 2 spoons of vanilla flavor, my baking powder, my flour, and those are the dried ingredients I'll be using. So I kept them aside. It's time to mix my wet ingredients. So I'm using ginger, fresh ginger. I shredded it. I brought out the water. I didn't know the video wasn't actually recording when I was extracting the water. So I extracted the water and I added my liquid milk. So this is me adding my liquid milk to the ginger water extraction. Ginger water I extracted. Then I added my sugar. I actually used 1/4, that's quarter cup of sugar. Yes, like I said, it was a low sugar chin chin. I allowed my sugar to sit in the wet ingredients so as to dissolve. Yes, I had to use the spoon to turn it so that it could dissolve quickly. Some of these sugars are not actually properly. You have to allow them to dissolve properly before adding to your baked goods, and that is what I'm trying to do. So I added small water to help for in the dissolving of the sugar further. And when it was close to being dissolved, I added my butter to my wet ingredients. I don't actually like using large quantity of butter. Well, I added a butter that should be enough for my dough. Yes, it should just be enough. It shouldn't be lesser, it shouldn't be more. I just like it being in the right quantity that I needed. So when my sugar was dissolved, I added my wet ingredients to my dried ingredients and I started kneading. Yes, this I was actually kneading with my hand. I don't have a kneading machine, but remember, it's not for commercial purpose. It's what we are going to enjoy in our house. So I needed to it got to a better consistency. And how you know that you're almost done kneading is when there is nothing left in the plate. Your plate is coming out clean, no border, no flour attached to the sides of the plate. You continue kneading till the plate is clean. Yes, I added more water because I needed more water. I rinsed out the sugar and I continued to knead. Yes, so this is me kneading so that I could get a better consistency of dough. So when I was done kneading, there was nothing remaining, no flour on my plate. My plate was very clean, and that was when I knew that yes, I was done. See, take a look at my plate. When you're kneading and you get to this point, that means that you've really done a good job. So I had to allow it to sit for some people leave it to sit for 45 minutes, 30 minutes as the case may be. But sometimes I don't even allow it to sit up to that amount of time. Sometimes just 30 minutes at the most. So I used butter to rub on the surface, then covered. Yes, I covered to allow it to rise, and I cleaned out the surface. I was going to cut out my dough to be clean. So when it's risen to a particular point, I that is my bottle. I sprinkled flour on the surface. I used bottle to, you know, I used my bottle, yes, to roll out in place of my rolling pin. Yes, you can actually use a bottle. You just apply strength to the bottle and it will really do a good job. So this is me rolling out. Yes, rolling out and getting ready to cut my dough. So I was done rolling and it was time to, cut my dough in cube shapes. And the reason why you use butter, you sprinkle flour on the surface, is for the dough not to get attached to the surface, for it not to get sticky to the surface that you're rolling out. You have to use flour. So this is me cutting out in my dough in cube shapes. Sometimes I cut in triangular shapes, but let's do cube shapes today. So when I was done cutting out my dough, I heated my pot. My pot was already heated, so I added my vegetable oil and it was time to fry. And remember, you fry on a very minimal heat, not very low, not very high. If it's very high, your chin chin will get done before the time it was supposed to, and you find out that the inside won't be properly cooked. So I added my dough and I started frying. Yes, I turned so that they could all enter inside the oil. Yes, so I fried out and I noticed at the point that some are getting done and more than faster than the others. So I had to still further reduce my heat source so that everything prop- could be properly cooked and they should be done at the same time. Yes, and this is me frying to get a better color of chin chin. Fry on a minimal heat, not too low, not too high. You do that so that everything will get done and properly cooked, you know. So when I was done frying, I think this is the first batch. And when you're done frying the first batch, when it's time to fry the second batch, you have to reduce the heat source further because as you can see, the oil must have heated up so fast. My chin chin is done. It's brown in color. Once it's brown in color, please bring it down so that it wouldn't get burnt. Yeah, it's already brown, so I'm bringing them out of the what of the oil. And when you're watching them inside the oil, you will think they're not brown. They are brown already. It's when you bring them out, then you know that they are already brown. So as I was saying, when you're about frying the second batch, you make sure that you reduce the fire source further because the oil is already heated up. If you add it just like that, it will to cook up without even being properly done inside. Yes, it will be rushed and it's not good. So I'll be frying my second batch. This is actually my first batch. So I reduced my oil. I reduced my fry sauce further, and my chin chin is done. I brought it out, and we are ready to take this delicious goodness. If you ever taste a chin chin that they added ginger, you know that there is a special taste that it gives. Yes, it is very, very delicious. Very delicious. And we are done with our chin chin. Thanks for watching our videos. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for liking.